My name is David Zierk, and this is the Rethink podcast. Long time ago, when I was a psychologist intern at a local hospital, I met a person who I can never forget. So part of the rotations and responsibilities of a psychologist intern is to work on the psychiatric unit, the psych unit. People come, people go, but they're all in trouble. I had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people in their darkest days. Part of my responsibilities is to meet people, meet with their families, have really difficult conversations, talk about the future, and run groups. So in that way, I kind of become pretty popular on the floor. There was this one person who was admitted about 2 days prior, and she never came out of her room. She took her meals in her room. She didn't talk to anybody. She didn't come to group. I didn't take it personally, but maybe a little. But I just allowed her to be. Then one very early morning, because part of my responsibilities was doing multiple rotations, I also worked in the emergency room. So I was in the emergency room about 2 o'clock in the morning and not much was going on. So it was a good night for everyone. So I decided to take a stroll and I went up to the psych unit. Dark, quiet, all the souls were asleep. I was heading towards the charge nurse station to talk, to see what was going on, see if any new challenges had arrived. And I noticed at the end of the hall, where all the patients were sleeping, there was a light on, a small little light. My curiosity got the better of me, so I decided to venture. I went down there. It's that really quiet moment where you could hear every footstep. I walked into the room. There was a young woman. My guess was 22, and she was crying. Not unexpected, certainly not uncommon for people who are on the psych unit. Lots of sadness, lots of tears. And I asked her, stepping into that moment. Actually, I didn't ask her. I said, I like the way you cry. She looked up at me. We made a connection. I felt it. Then I asked the question. I said, what's your name? And she said, my name's Madison, never Maddie. I don't know if she was a journalist and she understood what a hook was, but she hooked me. I knew there was something amazing about Madison, never Maddie. She allowed me into her life a little bit that evening. And for the rest of her time on the psych unit, for about 2 more weeks, we talked. She came to group. She became more engaged. She was dispositioned, let home, discharged. Goodbye, God bless, amen. I went on with my life, and part of my responsibilities as a psychologist intern is also to work at the University Counseling Center. So about 2 weeks after the last time I saw Madison, never Maddie, intake paperwork came to my attention that a new client was being assigned to me. You probably guessed it. It said, Madison, never Maddie. Okay. She picked me. I didn't expect it. I didn't see that one coming. So when she came in, I asked her, why me? Remember, I was 2 months smarter now since the last time I saw her. A little more bold. So Madison, never Maddie. Why me? And she said, you get me. That was the birthplace, the origin of relationship intelligence, this concept I've been working on for well over 25 years, helping people turn conflict into connection. So Madison and I continued working. As I graduated, she came over to my clinic. I've known her for 25 years. She's only been hospitalized 2 times in that long period of time. Never like it was originally, because when she came into the hospital when I first saw her, it was a near fatal suicide. She hasn't been that desperate ever since I've known her. When I was sharing this story with a colleague of mine, she said back to me, well, David, it sounds like you reparented her. I knew she was right, but she didn't get it. Because through my journey with Madison, I was always confused of who's reparenting who. She had such an internal, deep wisdom about herself. She just needed permission to access it. She, in a sense, reparented me. And what I mean by that is she gave me permission to grow up, to grow out of old habits I didn't realize I needed anymore. As a young intern, new psychologist, I was very much a technician. Over the years, Madison, never Maddie, gave me permission to become a healer. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. David Zierk, and I'm a clinical psychologist, a forensic expert, speaker, and author. And I welcome you to the first Rethink podcast. This is a place where I want to ask people to pause and reflect and explore new ways of thinking about leadership and connection and growth and what makes the world go round. Tall task. This podcast is about stepping back from the fast pace of the modern world while keeping leadership and life in mind and asking, what if there's a better way to connect? Rethink is based on the foundation of relationship intelligence. Rethinking is about relationship-enhanced thinking, thinking with connection in mind, getting out of yourself, getting into that space between you and the other person, honoring it, gifting it with your presence, your genuineness, your authenticity. We can take any topic, any idea, any controversy, and rethink it together. This is a way of looking at life through the lens that we were supposed to look at it through. This life, we're in it together. And we're stronger together by, I believe, understanding, applying, and practicing the concepts of relationship intelligence, about learning to rethink, which is, I consider to be the master skill of relationship intelligence. Taking a topic, taking a moment, and maybe you don't handle it very well. Maybe you came in too fast. Maybe the other person's response to you was very inconsistent with what you expected. That how your actions affected the other person triggered your awareness of what happened. And then you were able to respond by turning that into a mutually beneficial moment. That's relationship intelligence. That is the process that's involved in rethinking the moment. Even once the moment has passed, you might say to a person, again, in an awkward moment, hey, you know what, that didn't go well. I want to rethink that. And when you say, I want to rethink that, or let's rethink that, you're inviting the person to hear what you're not even saying. I love and I respect our connection. Right now, it doesn't feel very good. It doesn't feel like it usually does. I want to do something about this, but I don't know what to do. So let's stop and not make it worse. All of that is said when you say, hey, let's rethink this. The rethink process will be unpacked throughout all of the podcast. It'll be the primary theme, coming back to it. Hey, let's rethink this. Let's rethink this topic. Let's rethink this idea. There's something very controversial going on around us, maybe locally, regionally, or nationally. Let's rethink that. Let's think with connection in mind. And once that rethink process is understood and we put it into practice, just like the Buddhists say, we learn it, we practice it, and we get so good at it, we can forget it. And I want to help everyone learn how to rethink so well that if it becomes forgettable, it becomes part of you at a cellular level. This is the maiden voyage. This is the first podcast, launching some really cool concepts. Rethink. It's a new novel. Maybe it's a repackaging of something, but I like it. I like it a lot. I want to introduce it to you and get you guys really excited about this. Let me give you an idea of some other podcast ideas that are coming up. I want to explore how the mind works, especially under times of conflict when things don't go well. And you and I both know things don't go well really fast. And they go bad too often. We're in conflict a lot. And a lot of people just don't know how to navigate those rough seas of conflict. As a matter of fact, in times of conflict, we experience a conflict personality. We become a different version of ourselves. That's another podcast, talking about the conflict personality. I want to talk about navigating ways to recover from broken trust. Probably something a lot of us share. I want to help everyone learn how to give feedback to each other in such a way that it can be heard, held, and responded to in a mutually beneficial way. That's the function of feedback. I think if we get really good at giving feedback, thinking with connection in mind, I think life just simplifies. I think conflict gets reduced, and I think everything just becomes a little sweeter. I want to take a big topic like trauma and rethink it. I want to introduce ideas of mine called hidden trauma. I also came up with a concept called foundational trauma. Just another way of putting it on this spectrum of the most hurtful and distressful life moments. I want to explore a concept I call connection deficit disorder. I want to drill into the building blocks of relationship intelligence. I want to take a podcast and talk about trust and truth and commitment and connection. And I want us to drill and drill and drill and drill until we hit oil. As a trained psychologist, forensic expert, speaker, and author, I'm going to incorporate leadership, psychology, and personal growth insights into every episode. And I want to share strategies with you that you can apply immediately, whether you're running a team, at home or at work. And I promise you that I will be playful and productive. I will do my best to facilitate new insights for you so that you leave a podcast saying, that was interesting. But I also want to leave you something with, you know what, I'm going to go try it. And here's a call to action. You can join the conversation. If you hear something that resonates, share it with someone who you think might need it. And don't forget to follow me in every episode. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. You can reach out to me at davidzierk, Zierk.com, and share a story, suggest a topic, ask a question. This is about your journey to become someone who views conflict as an opportunity to connect. And I'm excited to learn and grow together. My name is Dr. David Zierk. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight.